we've certainly done some programmatic TV testing with MasterCard. Mondelez has been heavily in the addressable space for a while. These kinds of developments, how is it transforming the conversations that you're having internally with your organization?
I mean, I think it's early days for us. I think that the progress that we've made, if we call engagement, I mean, we're making progress. It's a journey. If we're calling, is engagement better than just impressions? Obviously, it's awesome. And we've made progress, and we've done some really cool things, and we've shown that the more contextually relevant we can get more attention from consumers. And I think that's great. As we continue to evolve, as I get to things that, I want to drive business. So engagement doesn't make doesn't make people swipe their cards or tap their, whatever device we're using now. And Bonan's cool watch, or, down the road we'll have, it's a very cool watch. I wasn't making fun of you. I like it. I want to get, as we get closer to, I want to get closer to transactions. I want to get closer to, providing experiences for consumers. I want to get closer to, consumers, conducting commerce. So we're making progress. I don't mean to sound like a naysayer. It's a journey. We haven't, we're not hanging the mission accomplished banner on the building yet, but we're making progress, and I think it's exciting.
I do have master pass on this, but I think for me the biggest challenge that we you're welcome, of course, Ben. Anything for you, sir. I think the biggest challenge that we have is data is the currency by which we will win or lose. And the majority of new manufacturers that are entering the marketplace, if you look at somebody like a NatureBox, so NatureBox, 12 million consumers, they have subscription service, they understand every single thing that their consumer does, and they can buy against it. They're not at the scale that we are, so they're buying, they can stay in digital. They don't necessarily have to use linear or television. Unfortunately, our business, 98% of the people in the world know what an Oreo is. So in order for us to move our business, we have to use every channel. But those channels weren't data rich to begin with. So for us, that's the biggest challenge, is how do we continue? And right now, to be perfectly honest with you, the number of data points, if we reach $1 billion in our e-commerce business, we will have more data points than Nielsen has on our customers, which is insane to think about it. So I can actually see a video on Facebook and see whether it actually converted with more granularity than I do right now, the majority, 62% of my spend. So that's the challenge that we have right now. And so what I love about addressable and programmatic television is that it also is a data capture play opportunity for us. And so the more granular we can get around targeting, then the less ways, the more efficient our business will ultimately be.
No, and I think that's the cool part of how the journey is going to continue. You've got billions of customers. Linda, we talked about it yesterday. We have 1.6 billion cardholders. How can we take that information and start to work together? And that's going to be the really exciting part, where we're sort of leveraging.
And think about those numbers that you're talking about in the billions of data points. You add to that for our company, in addition to a lot of the NBC Universal first-party data. Then you look at Comcast, that has 23 million set-top box points of data that we can talk to, and that's billions and billions. And what we're dealing with as an entire industry to transact is, I think, a new expanded panel of 45,000. So imagine us to be able to get technologically sophisticated with these guys over here to take those billions of data points together, and just the level of granularity that you can scale.
Yeah, I mean, the focus on a person that's purchased your product, that's engaged with your product as the atomic unit, and start with that to then understand the value of TV or video across all screens, makes a whole lot of sense, rather than, I think a panel a couple years ago, someone referred to 18 to 49 as a family reunion rather than as a target.
So this is, all right, now we're in the meat of this. All right, this is really where I wanted to spend a little bit of time, because I think, and you alluded to this fact, which is, as you guys develop your own data and technology platforms, and you're doing that through partnerships and so on, you're unlocking capability that's going to be really beneficial for brands of scale, certainly. I think the issue and the concern of a lot of people is we're going to walk down the same route that a lot of the big digital media companies have, which is walled gardens, where they have their own tech platforms, their own data, and you can use only their tech platforms and their data within their ecosystem, and therefore there's no visibility across that. We need to have an open exchange, an open marketplace, where we're leveraging uniform data or uniform technology to allow us to be able to trade appropriately across any of the networks and the platforms that are out there.
Listen, I can't speak on behalf of the entire television industry, but I can speak on behalf of the biggest television company in the country, and we have no interest in doing that. The television industry has grown up on data and information sharing for one ecosystem. The challenge for us is you guys are the ones who give in to the other ones and say you can't share over there. So we are willing, open, like-minded with our partners at AOL, that especially for the television industry, that I think the current narrative, or at least in the last couple of years, has been somewhat of a overstatement or bad rap on TV or premium content, which the data is now proving quite otherwise. But I believe if you had several of my peers or counterparts from the big media companies would agree that we're all in, but we've unfortunately to this point had to react, and we've all developed our singular particular new data products, but absolutely willing to get to a uniform platform and actually have a belief in our own content can stand on its own 2 feet to help you sell some Oreos.
Yeah, I mean, look, I am appalled by where the industry is, to be perfectly honest with you. And we are a large buyer, top 5 of all the digital guys that we're referring to in some type of name. And I actually think that it's a monopoly what's happening when I can only buy a certain format from a certain player, and they know who they are, with their exchange product. I think that that's illegal, to be perfectly honest with you. And I think the other thing is that and I don't believe that data, so right now we are held, data is now being held, and that's what they want us to buy from. I don't believe that that's a win. That's not a win. And I think what you said, Linda, is the most important, is that the ecosystem is being challenged. Consumers' eyeballs are going everywhere. If this ecosystem wants to survive, we have to do it together. And the fact that there are players that are telling me, you have to buy your data, that I built these businesses. At the end of the day, my spending builds these businesses. I think it's horrendous, to be perfectly honest with you. And so to hear somebody who understands what it's like to actually build this industry, to say we're going to share data, that's where the world is going. And data's not going to. I don't believe that that's a currency that they're going to win on, to be perfectly honest with you.
And when you stop supporting those businesses, then it's all.
No, I will stop supporting those. I will buy because they have a necessary evil. Here's the thing: is that look, the mobile phone, and nobody's talking about it in Canada. It's interesting. I think messaging is the future of the world, hence the reason of the book. But the moment we're smart enough to say, you know what, this week you can get an Oreo for free. Just give me your cell phone number. Game over, dude. $4.50 to get a person's phone number. Game over. First party data all day long. That entire walled garden business that they're building overnight is wiped out. And so, but most organizations aren't quite there yet, but that will happen. And so, anyway, sorry. I think it's very short-sighted.
You got to take the open approach. I mean, AOL has been talking about this for the past couple of years. Now, as part of Verizon, we have this massive deterministic data set with consumers. We're taking an open approach. We help to enrich third-party data and make that work harder for you. We help to partner with media companies that have their own distinct data sets. If you're not flexible and you have those options in platforms or with media companies, I don't know how you can be successful and how you can help that scale if it's just within your own environment, your own formats, your own walled garden. So I think that the market has a desire for an open approach. It's enabling partnerships with the biggest media companies who, frankly, own the eyeball. So if we help them do that, we help marketers bring whatever data they want and make it better with our own proprietary data, then we're advancing the value proposition for everybody.
I think it's all driven by consumers. No matter what, consumers don't get it. They don't understand walled gardens. They consume everything. And I think that we have to figure out if it's consumer-led, we have to have the ability to be able. Even while everybody's creating customized tools, we have to have the ability. We have to be able to work with everything in an open and a common environment. Until we do that, it's attractive to be. Really honest. We can learn a small scale. We learn a lot in those small walled gardens because it enables us to have a holistic end-to-end experience. But it's not scalable. It's not going to be something that we can sustain over time.
So,
sure, okay. Wait, you mean consumers aren't like, oh my God, I'm in a walled garden? No, they don't think.
No.
You don't feel that way? I certainly feel that way. Yeah, exactly.